Why does everyone want something?
Her voice roars thunder cracked above her car. Why can't anyone ever just love me? Her words trembled through the empty vehicle, swallowed by the storm raging outside. Rain hammered violently against the windshield, blurring the streetlights into shaky streaks of gold. Her fingers clenched the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned ghost white. She could barely see through the tears. Her breaths came fast, shallow, breaking each time thunder rolled. She whispered again, as if the world owed her an answer. Why am I never enough without the money? Lightning flashed, and in its stark glow she looked like a ghost of the woman she used to be. Rich, powerful, admired. None of that mattered anymore. Claire had run from all of it. The luxury, the mansion, the designer dresses, and especially the men who pursued her like she was a walking bank. Not again, she cried out, voice cracking. I can't keep getting hurt. I can't. Her foot slammed the brake too late. A figure rushed out from the small, almost collapsing grocery store on the corner, bag in hand, hood up, moving fast to escape the flooding sidewalk. He didn't see the car. She didn't see him. The world was rain and panic and pain. The bumper clipped him. No, she screamed. He hit the ground, groceries exploding everywhere, eggs splattering, bread flying, a can of beans rolling into the gutter with a hopeless clank. Are you kidding me? He shouted, sitting up with mud streaked across his face. Rain soaked him instantly, turning the flour from his ripped paper bag into a paste dripping down his shirt. What the hell? Claire threw her car door open so violently it bounced back at her. Oh my God, are you hurt? I'm so sorry. I swear I didn't see you. I was. She tried to step toward him but slipped, crashing to her knees in the mud beside him. He blinked at her, stunned. Are you okay? No, she whispered, shoulders trembling. But that's fine. I'm used to everything going wrong. He stared at her, really stared. Mud splashed on her jeans, rain soaking her hair, eyes red from crying. There was something in her voice he understood too well. Something tired, something lonely. He sighed, rubbing his face with his muddy hand. Look, I'm not dead, so that's good. She let out a broken little laugh. I'm really, really sorry. My dinner's definitely dead, though, he muttered, staring at the soggy noodles and crushed bread. Another clap of thunder exploded overhead. Clay flinched violently, actually covering her ears. Her breathing sped up again, shaking. He frowned. You scared of storms? She nodded without looking at him. Just bad memories. He didn't press. He knew what it felt like to have too many of those. The rain softened a little, turning from violent bullets to steady drips. He pushed himself up and offered her his hand. She hesitated, then took it. The touch startled both of them. She stood, brushing mud off her clothes. I ruined your groceries. He glanced at the mess. You definitely did. She looked mortified. I can buy you more. You don't have to, he said quickly, then stopped. Why was he refusing? He was supposed to be broke. He was pretending to be broke. Yet somehow, pride mattered more right now. It's fine. It's not fine, she insisted. I literally hit you with a vehicle. He shook his head. Barely. You flew, she reminded him. I slipped, he countered. You did not slip. He smirked despite himself. Okay, maybe I flew a little. She laughed weakly, wiping her tears. Could I at least drive you home? I mean, he said, gesturing to his soaked, muddy clothes, unless you want me to walk in this storm with bean juice in my shoes. She snorted, a genuine, surprised laugh, and it was the first sound she'd made that didn't hurt. Thunder cracked again, and she jumped. He noticed. Her fingers trembled violently on her sleeve. You sure you're okay to drive? He asked quietly. Her eyes lowered. I didn't want to be alone. He softened. You're not. I'm right here. She swallowed hard, like the words hit somewhere deep. He cleared his throat, realizing they were both standing awkwardly in the mud. Well, I'm Daniel. She blinked, as if his name pulled her back to the present. I'm Claire. He smiled. Not wide, not forced, just enough. Nice to meet you. Even under chaotic circumstances. She glanced at the destroyed groceries again. Daniel, I really want to fix what I messed up. You can start by letting me get in your warm car before we both freeze. She nodded quickly, unlocking the door. As they climbed inside, the camera would naturally zoom out, the storm reflecting on the windshield, their silhouettes outlined against the dim streetlight. The narrator's voice faded in softly, perfect for viewer engagement. If you're here feeling just as emotional as they are, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and comment more so we can keep this story going. Now let's get back to it. Inside the car, Claire clutched the steering wheel again, steadying her breathing. Daniel buckled his seatbelt, still damp and irritated but strangely curious. She whispered, Daniel. Yeah. Are you mad at me? He glanced at her. Her eyes were big, vulnerable, terrified of the answer. No, he said softly. I've had worse days. You're kind of the highlight of this one. She stared at him like he'd just handed her something priceless. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For not shouting. For not blaming me. For just being human. Daniel rested his head back. Trust me, I'm more human than you'd think. Neither knew the other was rich. Neither knew the other was lying about their life. Neither knew they just crashed, literally, into the one person who wanted nothing but love. And for the first time in a long time, something in both of them finally felt possible. Claire's hands were still shaking as she restarted the car, the engine humming softly beneath the fading storm. She swallowed hard, trying to steady her breath, but the ache inside her chest refused to settle. Daniel watched her discreetly, noticing the way her fingers trembled on the wheel, how her eyes remained glossy with fear and exhaustion. He could tell she was trying to hold herself together. Barely. You sure you're okay to drive? He asked gently. She nodded too fast. I'm fine. Really. I just didn't expect tonight to turn out like this. Daniel leaned back in the seat, wet clothes clinging uncomfortably to his skin. Well, for what it's worth, he murmured, I didn't expect to become a human bowling pin. She let out a shaky laugh. I'm still so sorry about that. Hey, he shrugged. If nothing else, it makes for a dramatic story. She smiled softly, though her eyes still held shadows. The rain slowed outside, tapping gently against the roof. Claire exhaled shakily. Storms just do things to me. Scare you. Remind me, she whispered, of everything I try to forget. Daniel didn't ask what. He knew that tone. He knew what it meant to hide broken pieces behind quiet words. He watched her shoulders rise and fall with unsteady breaths, and something inside him tightened. Not pity, but recognition. After a long moment, he asked, So what were you doing out here alone? Another inhale. I left someone tonight. Someone important. I thought he was, she murmured. But he only wanted what I could give him. Daniel's jaw tightened. I get that. More than you know. She glanced at him. You do? He nodded slowly. People don't always want me for the right reasons. She studied him for a moment, sensing a depth he wasn't ready to reveal. She didn't push. Instead, she whispered, It hurts. Feeling used. Yeah, he said quietly. It does. They passed under a flickering streetlight, the dim glow reflecting off scattered puddles. Claire turned down a narrow road lined with aging houses, their roofs slanted from years of weather. Daniel pointed toward a small, worn-down building. That one, right there. She pulled up, observing the faded paint and rusty railings. You live here? Yep. It's simple, she whispered. Simple is good, he said, unbothered. She gave a soft, wistful smile. I wouldn't mind simple. Daniel unbuckled his seatbelt. Thanks for the ride. And for not speeding away after hitting me. I'd never, she whispered. I couldn't. He opened the door, then paused. Clay. Yes. He hesitated, something fragile passing through his eyes. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm around. Her breath caught. You mean that? I do. Her eyes softened, glistening again. Thank you, Daniel. He stepped out but leaned back in. Hey, you okay to drive home alone? She blinked. You're worried about me? Obviously. A small smile tugged at her lips. "I'll be fine." He nodded, though he lingered longer than necessary. "Good night, Claire." "Good night, Daniel." She watched him walk toward his building, each step slow, heavy, thoughtful. Rainwater dripped from his clothes, leaving small trails behind him. Just before he disappeared inside, he turned and offered a tiny, tired smile. She returned it, unable to stop herself. When he vanished inside, Claire finally let her head drop against the steering wheel. A shaky breath escaped her lips. "Why does my heart feel different?" she whispered. She didn't understand it, but something in her chest felt less hollow than it had an hour ago. Daniel entered his small apartment, dripping water onto the old wooden floor. He peeled off his soaked shirt, tossing it onto a chair before sinking onto his couch with a groan. His ribs still ached from the nearly disastrous collision. He stared at the ceiling, trying not to think about how warm Claire's hand felt in his, or how her voice cracked when she said people only wanted her for what she could give. He knew that pain too intimately. He had lived with people expecting money, favors, connections his entire life. And here he was, pretending to be broke just to escape that world. Yet somehow tonight, covered in mud and flour, he felt more real than he had in years. He closed his eyes. "Claire," he whispered, "why did you feel so familiar?" Across town, Claire finally pulled away from the curb, driving slowly through the quiet streets. The storm had softened into a drizzle, but her mind still churned with thunder. She wiped her damp cheeks and whispered, "Why am I thinking about him?" Her phone buzzed. A name flashed on the screen. The ex, the user, the one who tried to mold her fear into obedience. She declined the call instantly, heart pounding. She didn't want that life anymore. She didn't want the lies. She didn't want the manipulation. For the first time in a very long time, she wanted something honest. And Daniel, muddy, sarcastic, stubborn Daniel, had felt honest. She touched her chest gently. "Maybe, just maybe, I met someone good." Meanwhile, Daniel lay awake on his couch, replaying her face in the storm, her tears, her laughter, her trembling voice saying she didn't want to be alone. He whispered to himself, "What if she's different?" They didn't know it yet, but tonight wasn't an accident. It was the beginning of the truth neither of them expected. If you're still watching, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support keeps this story alive. Now let's continue. Daniel didn't sleep that night. He lay on his couch, staring at the ceiling as the faint patter of leftover rain tapped against his window. His body was exhausted, but his mind refused to rest. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Claire, muddy, crying, apologizing, laughing through the pain. Something about her clung to him like the scent of rain after a storm. He didn't understand why, but he didn't fight it either. At around 7 a.m., he finally dragged himself up, showered, changed into a clean but worn t-shirt, and stepped outside. The air smelled fresh, the storm gone, leaving the town washed and quiet. He walked toward the small convenience store 2 blocks down. His steps were slow, almost hesitant, like his thoughts were weighing more than his body. As he approached the store, he saw her, Claire, standing in front of the cracked window, hugging her arms tightly to her chest. Her hair was tied up messily, her eyes still tired, but she was there, and not by accident. Daniel stopped, stunned. He hadn't expected to see her again so soon. Maybe not ever. She looked up hesitantly, catching his gaze. Her lips parted, relief spreading across her face. "You're okay," she said softly. He blinked. "I should be telling you that." She gave a small laugh, stepping closer. "I couldn't sleep. I just kept thinking about you. And about last night." He raised a brow. "The part where you hit me with your car." Her cheeks flushed. "Every part." He chuckled, shaking his head. "You're something else, Claire." They stood there awkwardly for a moment, trying to hide the way they kept stealing glances at each other. Claire tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "I came because I wanted to check on you." Daniel lifted a brow. "You mean you wanted to make sure you didn't finish the job?" She rolled her eyes. "I'm serious." "So am I," he said with a sly smirk. His soft giggle floated between them, and for a second, Everything felt easy, comforting, natural. Daniel gestured to the store. I was grabbing breakfast. Want to join me? You know, as part of your court-mandated apology. She laughed. If that's what it takes. Inside the store, fluorescent lights flickered overhead. Daniel grabbed instant coffee packets and a couple of pastries, while Claire picked out bottled water and some fruit. She watched him subtly as he moved through the aisle. Simple clothes, quiet demeanor, but something steady about him. Something grounding. At the counter, she pulled out her purse. Let me pay. Daniel frowned. It's just a few dollars. I got it. No, she insisted. Please. He hesitated. Back in his old world, people fought to pay for him. But with her, it didn't feel like charity or expectation. It felt like she genuinely wanted to. She handed the cashier the money before he could argue. They stepped outside, sitting on the low brick ledge under the store's small awning. Daniel opened his coffee and took a sip, grimacing. Still terrible. She smiled softly. Why buy it then? Because terrible coffee builds character. Does it? Yes. You wouldn't understand. You look like someone who drinks coffee that actually tastes like coffee. Her laughter bubbled out, light and gentle. You're impossible. They fell quiet, the morning breeze brushing against them. People walked past, workers, old men, a few teenagers, but everything around them felt faint, distant, irrelevant. It was just the two of them in a small bubble of fragile peace. Claire exhaled shakily. Daniel, can I tell you something? He turned to her, expression softening. Yeah. She hesitated, fingers nervous around the water bottle. I haven't been honest with you. His chest tightened, but he stayed silent, waiting. It's nothing bad, she quickly added. I wasn't crying last night because I'm weak, or dramatic, or because of the storm. She inhaled slowly. I was crying because I felt used. Again, people keep pretending to care, but deep down they only want what they think I can give them. Daniel's throat felt tight. Claire, you're the first person who didn't ask me for anything, who didn't expect anything, who didn't look at me like I was a walking opportunity. Her eyes glowed with vulnerability. It felt safe. He swallowed hard. I didn't do anything special. You were kind, she whispered. You don't know how rare that is. Daniel looked away briefly, fighting the urge to confess everything. Who he really was. The money he had. The identity he was hiding. The whole reason he was living this strange double life. But if he told her now, she would leave. He knew she would. She hated lies. She hated selfishness. She hated people who only wanted something from her. And he was already lying without meaning to. Instead, he said, I'm not perfect, Claire. I've made mistakes too. I'm not exactly who you think I am. She frowned softly. Then who are you? He opened his mouth to speak, then closed it. The words stuck in his throat like thorns. Claire watched him silently, waiting, but when she saw the conflict in his eyes, she relaxed her shoulders. It's okay if you're not ready. I won't push. Her gentleness nearly broke him. He cleared his throat. What about you? Why are you here? Really? She hesitated, glancing down. Because last night felt different, and I didn't want it to end there. His heart thudded in his chest. What did it feel like? She met his gaze. Honest. For a moment, they just stared at each other, the world blurring at the edges. Daniel had to look away before he did something stupid, like tell her everything. Claire scooted a little closer. Daniel. Yeah. Can I see you again? Like, properly? Without the accident. Without crying. Just us. He didn't answer right away. He couldn't. He was too busy trying to calm the sudden storm inside him. Different from last night, but just as powerful. Finally, he whispered, Yeah, I'd like that. She smiled, a real, warm smile that reached her eyes. Good. Then it's a date. His pulse quickened. A date. Unless you don't want it to be. I do, he said quickly. Too quickly. She laughed softly, nudging him with her shoulder. Then it settled. The narrator's voice would fade in for engagement. If you're still watching, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments if you think this date will go smoothly or horribly? Claire stewed from the ledge. Same time tomorrow. Daniel nodded. I'll be here. She lingered for a moment, then leaned forward and pressed a gentle kiss to his cheek. Warm, soft, unexpected. He froze. She pulled back, cheeks flushed. Goodbye, Daniel. Then she walked away. Daniel touched his cheek, heartbeat racing. He was falling, fast, and he didn't know how to stop. Claire spent the entire next morning getting ready for the date she'd been thinking about non-stop. She wore something simple, jeans, a soft cream top, and her hair down with a few curls. Nothing flashy, nothing that hinted at the wealth she hid behind her quiet smile. She wanted Daniel to see her, not her world. She wanted to know if what she felt wasn't just wishful thinking or desperation for honesty. She wanted something real. When she walked toward the small park where they agreed to meet, she saw him instantly. Daniel stood under the old tree at the center, leaning awkwardly against the trunk as if trying not to seem nervous. He looked fresh, clean, yet still wonderfully simple. She smiled before she even realized she was smiling. Hey, she called. His head jerked up. The way his face lit instantly warmed her chest. Hey, he said. You actually came. Of course I did, she teased. Were you expecting otherwise? He shrugged. Maybe. She stepped closer. Well, I'm here. They walked without much of a plan, talking about pointless things at first. Favorite foods, things they liked or hated. Daniel joked about how instant coffee should be illegal, and she laughed harder than she probably should have. Their hands brushed once, then twice, until finally Claire took his hand gently. He froze, not pulling away, just startled. This okay? She asked softly. Yeah, he whispered. They walked like that for a while, fingers intertwined, unsure who needed the touch more. But the closer they grew, the stronger the pressure inside Daniel's chest became. He had been lying to her by omission. She had trusted him with raw truths, and he had given her half-truths in return. Every smile she offered made the guilt punch deeper. He stopped walking. Claire, there's something I have to tell you. Her heart dropped. She let go of his hand slowly. You're scaring me. Daniel exhaled shakily. I haven't been honest. Not fully. What do you mean? I didn't come to this town because I'm poor or struggling. I came here because I needed to escape my life. I needed space. Everyone I knew only cared about my money, my status, my connections. He swallowed. So I hid. I pretended. I wanted someone to care about me for me. Just me. The silence that followed dragged like a blade. Claire's throat tightened. So, you're rich? She said quietly. Yes. She stepped back. And you didn't think to tell me. I was scared, he admitted. I didn't want to lose you. Claire pressed a trembling hand to her forehead. Daniel, I told you everything. I poured myself out to you. I thought we were building something honest. And all this time, you were testing me. No, he pleaded. It wasn't a test. It feels like one. He took a slow step toward her, but she stepped back again. Claire, I wanted to tell you. I just didn't know how. And you chose now. Her voice cracked painfully. After I let myself believe you might finally be someone who wasn't pretending. He felt the words like strikes. Claire. My real name isn't Claire, she said suddenly. Daniel froze. What? She looked away, tears gathering. I'm not who I said I was either. Her breath trembled. My name is Clarissa Vincent. I'm the CEO of Vincent Holdings, one of the companies your father tried to buy 2 years ago. His jaw dropped. Yo, Clarissa Vincent. She nodded miserably. I came here for the same reason you did. To hide. To breathe. To find someone who didn't want my world. She wiped her cheeks angrily. And I thought I found that in you. Daniel felt dizzy. Clarissa, please. I didn't lie to hurt you. She shook her head. We're both liars. But we didn't lie about the important things, he argued desperately. She met his eyes with a painful softness. Didn't we? He froze. Because yes, they had lied. About identity. About circumstances. About the very premise of trust. And now it was all crashing. She turned away. I need time. Please. Daniel, she whispered. If we start something based on lies, how do we ever trust anything real? Her voice broke. She walked away, leaving him rooted to the ground with the taste of regret burning in his throat. Days passed without contact. Daniel tried texting, calling. Nothing. Clarissa stayed locked inside her rented tiny room near the market, wiping tears she hated and replaying every moment with him. The honesty, the laughter, the warmth, and the lies. She didn't know how to separate them. On the fourth day, an envelope slid under her door. Her breath caught. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside was a simple note in Daniel's handwriting. I love you. Not your money. Not your name. Just you. If you ever want to meet me again, I'll be waiting at the bridge at sunset. If you don't come, I'll understand. Her heart pounded painfully. She didn't want to go. She wanted to go more than anything. At sunset, she found herself walking toward the old wooden bridge, every step shaking. And there he was, standing alone, hands in his pockets, looking like a man holding his entire world in a single breath. She stepped forward. He turned. Their eyes met. Clarissa, he whispered. Daniel. He moved closer. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You deserved honesty. So did you, she whispered. I know. And we messed up. But what we felt wasn't fake. She blinked through tears. How do you know? Because I fell in love with the girl who hit me with her car and cried in the rain. Not the CEO. Not the wealthy woman. Just you. A ragged breath escaped her lips. I love you too, she admitted. Even though you're an idiot. He laughed wetly. I'll take it. She stepped into his arms. He held her like she was the one truth he finally found. If you love this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment real love to let us know you watched till the end. They kissed under the fading sun, two rich souls who had finally found something money couldn't buy.